Welcome to Big Shot or Bust, the game show where contestants decide whether historical figures were successful or if they failed to accomplish their goals. Today we'll be focusing on freedom fighters who have each worked towards bringing about greater freedom in their countries and the rest of the world. Countless times, historical activists have achieved significant progress towards the institution of inalienable rights, only to have their years of tireless effort eradicated in the face of political reformation. This has been a major issue, and for this reason, activists continue to fight for many of the same rights and freedoms today. Now let's take a look at some of the topics we'll be challenging our contestant with. We will explore how political and expressional freedoms were fought for by Voltaire, Mikhail Gorbachev, and Ethel Kennedy. Okay, let's begin. What exactly is the freedom of expression? According to Article 19 of the UN Declaration of Human Rights, freedom of expression is the right of every individual to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. Tonight we will be considering the freedom of religion as a subdivision of expressional freedom. Article 18 of the UN Declaration of Human Rights states, everyone has the right to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. The defendants also address political freedom. There are many articles in the UDHR that deal with this topic, including Articles 20 and 21, which maintain the freedom to assemble, vote, participate in government, and have fair elections. The first defender that we will be challenging you with, Mr. Smith, is the famous French Enlightenment philosopher who went by the pen name Voltaire. Tell me, what were the main freedoms that Voltaire addressed?
Political, expressional, and religious freedoms.
That is correct. Through his writings, Voltaire had a tremendous impact in all three of those areas. Next question. Name something that he has written.
In 1763, Voltaire wrote the Treatise on Tolerance.
Correct again. The Treatise on Tolerance is one of Voltaire's most famous writings. It focuses on religious toleration and makes many great arguments for why people should recognize each other's beliefs, even if they are conflicting. These ideas have shown up in constitutions and other government decrees since the time of Voltaire, including the U.S. Bill of Rights and Article 18 of the UDHR. Additionally, in 1733, Voltaire wrote a letter to a French official requesting the freedom of speech, press, and the removal of theatrical censorship. Again, these same ideas inspired the founding fathers of America and other legislators around the world. Furthermore, Voltaire wrote many novels and plays. Within these, he incorporates many of his beliefs about government. The next question is about our freedom fighter, Mikhail Gorbachev. So, like Voltaire, Mr. Smith, can you tell me what freedoms he fought for?
Of course, he brought political freedom and the freedom of expression to the USSR.
You are correct. In fact, he completely turned the Soviet Union around, and through democracy and legislation, he gave the Soviet people many new freedoms. Our next question involves legislator. Can you name any of the policies or actions that he took to bring these new freedoms to the USSR?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Glasnost.
Correct again, amazing job. During his time in power, Gorbachev operated under the policy of perestroika, which means reconstruction. Under perestroika, Gorbachev brought freedom of religion, assembly, and glasnost to the USSR. Glasnost was a revolutionary policy because after years of oppressing the people, it gave the freedom of expression to the public, allowing them to criticize the government and put an end to media censorship. Gorbachev implemented democratic policies into the Soviet government, creating free elections and reducing the power and privileges of the Communist Party. By the time Gorbachev had finished transforming the USSR, he had managed to incorporate Articles 18 through 21 of the UDHR. In a last attempt of freedom, Gorbachev enabled the dissolution of the USSR into a group of independent republics. Our final questions involve another great reformer, Ethel Kennedy. Why was Ethel Kennedy considered such a great reformer?
She was a great activist and addressed many pressing issues including political freedom, expressional freedom, children's rights, and even minimum wage issues.
Correct. Next question. To what extent did Ethel Kennedy bring greater political and expressional freedom to the world?
There are so many examples. She has worked in areas from Namibia to Poland in attempts to spread democracy to the oppressed and help those in need. However, I cannot think of a better example than the support of a group of prisoners in Mexico.
You are correct again. In 2001, Ethel Kennedy traveled to Mexico to give her support to a group of political prisoners that were arrested for opposing loggers in the Guerrero state of Mexico. With their support, Ethel was fighting for the prisoners' freedom to express their ideas and to participate in government, both of which had been denied. Next question. Do you think Ethel Kennedy has had a direct effect on your community?
Yes, I do. As a New Yorker, her involvement in the Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration Project certainly speaks to her actions to help developing communities in my state. But because I live in upstate New York, this does not fully pertain to the community in which I live. However, by creating the Robert F. Kennedy Center for Justice and Human Rights, she has a direct influence on my community. With the introduction of the Speak Truth to Power contest, in which my community is participating, students have recently taken a much stronger interest in human rights.
Amazing insight, Mr. Smith. Now, before you tell me whether or not each one of these defenders is a big shot or a bust, I need to tell you one last thing about each one of them. Voltaire was exiled 3 times throughout his life, and the Catholic Church even placed all of his works on their banned list known as the Index. Mikhail Gorbachev was forced to step down as president of the USSR by Russian President Boris Yeltsin, and Ethel Kennedy was once arrested for theft. Knowing this, tell me, were these people big shots or busts?
All of these people achieve so much they have to be big shots.
Final question of the night. Can other people do what these defenders have done?
Of course they can. There's still a major need for people like these defenders to step up in the world today to promote human rights. There's nothing special about each of the people we talked about today, yet they accomplished great things. Voltaire was a failed playwright and he was exiled multiple times, yet his ideas can be found in the US Constitution. Gorbachev grew up as a farm boy living in the middle of nowhere, and he became a Nobel laureate. Lastly, Ethel Kennedy was a troublemaker growing up, yet she went on to become the driving force behind two wildly successful politicians, and she even received the Medal of Freedom from the President of the United States. The message is, anyone can make a difference.
On that note, thank you for watching Big Shot or Bust. See you next week.